Joe again with another review and continue my reviews of the Happy Days season on DVD. Now we're discussing the third season. And of course, this is the season that really made Happy Days to a regular sitcom itself. In the previous two seasons, we just tell stories every week about the Cunningham family. Of course, there's also the one that changed more of the house, and not only the house, but of course also the season, the setup of the show. Because the house and the interior of the house changed from what the first two seasons looked like to this one to a more traditional, more used to the rest of the series. And also introduced Fonzie as being a quote member of the family, because this is also the season where Fonzie moves in the Cunningham house for good. I think it lasted there for like 6 years. I believe the next six seasons of the show. They moved into the garage apartment. But also this is the season that introduced Laverne and Shirley to the role, because it was an episode where Richie goes into a slump, a dating slump, and finally sends him out on a double date with Laverne and Shirley. And of course, those two characters, that episode was one of the best and one of the most memorable episodes of the series. And of course, they have a spin-off. One of the first successful spin-offs, other than, of course, the Jeffersons at that time. And also they introduced the role to Pat Morita, who played Arnold, the owner of course, Arnold's Drive-In. Of course, because before that, Arnold was just somebody named in the background. It was never really introduced. It was never very much featured in an episode, just his name. So you have an actor who played the part, and it was Arnold. It was, Pat Morita playing Arnold. And of course, he went on. Unfortunately, he only lasted like one season originally, and then he left. He did movies like the Karate Kid movie series, and of course, towards the end of the series, when Al left to do Johnny Loves Chachi spin-off series, Pat Morita came back on Happy Days, and he was there for like I think the rest of the series. But this was the first series where you saw, or season when you saw Arnold for the full season, and occasionally he came back a couple of times. But he sold the diner to Al prior to the third season opening. And of course, there was also the season that stored the first of three memorable stunts that Fonzie did. Of course, this is really early on. This is what the DVDs inside looks like. What is this? This is what the DVDs. Of course, the season I'm talking about is actually the third and fourth episode of the series called Fearless Fonzarelli, where it goes on a television show, and he did a motorcycle, a evil style jump. Because at that time, in the mid-70s, Evel Knievel was pretty popular with doing all these, motorcycle jumps. So they decided, I guess Happy Days decided to capitalize on and have finally do a motorcycle jump. And of course, he eventually spoiled, he does make the jump, but he ends up hurting his knee. He's on the Cunningham's couch. But of course, there's also episodes where Richie fights back. There's a funny episode where he take judo lessons. And of course, in the second, that's because of course, A Date with Fonzie, that's the one with the Laverne and Shirley episodes. And of course, the funny thing is, a lot of people don't know, is Cindy Williams actually starred with Ron Howard in the movie called American. They had that chemistry going on because they worked together before. So that's why in the episode they worked together they went out in this episode. Of course, they had several funny ones. Of course, one of the more memorable moments of the series was an episode called Three on the Porch. It was supposed to be spring break. And of course, Richie, Patsy, and Ralph rented a porch in his cabin in Camp Lakefish. The three hot girls were inside the cabin, they were outside the cabin. And of course, after all the hijinks in an episode, Fonzie decides, oh, I'll sleep by the fire for a while. Play cowboy. And of course, all the animals were making noise. So he sits up and he yells out, "Cooler!" Just like that, all the animals shut up. They stop making noise, and he lies back down and he says, let's see Tarzan do that. That of course was also one of the highlights of the series. And of course, they also had, I think, what Erin Moran called her favorite episode of the entire series, which is called, they call it Puppy Love. Well, not Puppy Love, Party Love. Because it was an episode where Party sang a song to Joni. They were rehearsing, and Joni sang on a stool, and Party sang "Put Your Head on My Shoulder," by Paul Anka. And of course, she instantly fell a little bit, had a crush on Party. And of course, this was Erin Moran who played Joni, her favorite episode of the whole series. Of course, they also had one where Fonzie spoke the words. He didn't sing the words, spoke the words to Heartbreak Hotel, which was, one of silly, and also brought back Laverne and Shirley for that episode. But it was really one of the sillier episodes of the series. But one of the also episodes where he introduced Ralph's father, who was supposed to be a night doctor, called Sight for Sore Eyes, where finally had a problem with reading. And of course, it went to Ralph's father. Of course, the last episode of season 3 was an episode called "When Arnold Got Married." That's probably why he decided to leave the series after that. When his character left the series. And the funny thing about Arnold's wedding episode, the actress who played Arnold's fiancée in Virtual Bride was the same actress who played Miss Miyagi's old girlfriend in Karate Kid 2. So if you know, watch the episode of Arnold's wedding and then watch Karate Kid 2, it's the same actress. Nabu, I think her name was Nabu McCarthy. I believe the actress's name is, and it's the same actress who played Arnold's girlfriend, or Pat Morita's girlfriend, in both episodes. In both the episode of Arnold's girlfriend, Arnold's wedding, and Miss Miyagi's old girlfriend in Karate Kid 2. And I thought it was kind of interesting. I don't know if they were actually married in real life. I really don't know. But I think it's kind of funny that the same actress who played Arnold's girlfriend in Happy Days was actually married to Arnold in Happy Days. But of course, the other episodes that were also good in this episode was one where Patsy impersonates Richie on a date with the disaster from Nebraska, as Fonzie put in the episode. And of course, it was the next thing went nuts and actually tore the girl's dress and everything else. And also in that episode, you can look for the guy who played Ralph the Doorman in The Jeffersons, appeared as the girl's father in that episode. The other Richie Cunningham. Well, the first episode was when Fonzie moves into the Cunningham's apartment, like I mentioned earlier, and when Richie tells the father, Richie, that Fonzie's from the apartment, he chokes him out. So Mr. C chokes out Richie in the episode, which was funny. Well, actually, of course, the second desk was to mention the episodes with the very shooting episode and 3 on the Porch. Of course, the last episode for the second disc of the series is when Fonzie meets a black guy who is a drummer who's going to be in Richie's band. And of course, when the other kids find out there's kind of a black guy and playing the drums in the party, the other kids decide not to be there. And so that's the third disc. The fourth disc, of course, is one I mentioned earlier with the joining gang Crush on Potsy. Of course, also in the next episode, which is titled to the Marines, was when Ralph's girlfriend, who was played by Amy Irving, decided to break up with him because he didn't think his act was cute or funny, doing all of his jokes and the fight rig and the goggles and all this practical joke stuff. He didn't think it was very funny, so he wanted to join the Marines. So that's that episode. There's also one where one of my father's favorite episodes is when the dance contest, where Mr. C and Fonzie practice for this contest, a dance contest on TV. This is like before Dancing with the Stars, and of course, everybody thought that Fonzie was having the affair with Mr. C. And of course, on the last this was when you have, well, some of the episodes is when the two angry men where Fonzie the birdhouse and the roof breaks, and they were suing each other. And of course, they also have a special feature. I don't know why they didn't do this in order, but they did a special second anniversary show of Happy Days, which is like 2 year anniversary after the start of the show. And did it was more like a highlight show, a clip show. They put that on the end, and the eventual air date was January 12th, 1976. Instead of putting it in order, they put it at the end as a bonus feature. So that's my review of season 3 of Happy Days. And of course, it was also the first season where every single episode was filmed in front of a live studio audience, because that format worked for the episode they mentioned in the second season, Fonzie is getting married. Since they liked that concept, they decided to do it for good, and that's when the series really took off. And because this is the highest, which I found out was the highest rated season of the whole history of Happy Days. And of course, the fourth season, which I'm going to do the next video on, that was the second highest season. And season 5, which everybody thought the show tanked after that, was the third highest rated season of the entire history of that entire one of the series. And the reason why they thought it tanked was because the term "Jump the Shark" came from the first episode of 3 Story Walk, where Fonzie goes out for a screen test and he gets challenged for a water skiing contest to jump over the shark. And of course, that's when a lot of people thought the show tanked after that. But they had plenty of good episodes after that episode. But I get in the review of the episode if and when I ever get that season on DVD. So that's my review of Happy Days Season 3. Please like the videos, please comment on, and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.